Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy 8 p.m. And today's topic, we're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter because I'm exhausted. I'm tired, ready to get some rest here. But it is 8 p.m., and for now, this is a daily live, so we're going to do it. So today's topic is the more you practice, the more you get better. I know that's a very, very, very obvious statement, but I am talking about this because I just noticed that it's really cool to see the development that's happening in several areas of my life. The first two that come to my mind is playing basketball and speaking. So today, uh, today I just did a speaking presentation at a middle school. I did two presentations, and at this point, I've done about 150 presentations. But to me, it's interesting because sometimes when you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, it doesn't seem like we improve a lot. But then when we there's like these little, like when we keep practicing the same thing over and over again, it's like eventually it becomes a muscle, and then eventually we get to a point where we start analyzing like, what can I do better? So I notice when I speak that because I've done the same presentation over and over and over again, I realize that like I'm really grateful that last 1 or 2 weeks ago I actually recorded a live version of it, and uh, one of my one of my one of my boss man, my friend, watched the whole entire live video, and he just gave me feedback like, "Hey Richard, these are things that you did well. These are things that I thought you could improve on," and I decided, you know what? I haven't reviewed my speech footage like that in a while, so I went back and I looked at it, and I was just like, man, there's a lot of inefficiencies. So I just noticed by practicing that I am, I could improve my speaking just by like really honing and focusing on certain areas of it. So that was a really cool, refreshing thing that I picked up just recently. Hey Scott, good to see you on. Long time no see. And anyone else who's on, I see Jordan, Michael Kang, Don, Sebastian, Roman, Tim, David. Scott says it seems like the only time we connect is when I'm driving. That seems to be a hot time to connect. So, along with again, the purpose of this topic is not to be completely obvious. I think it's very obvious that the more we practice, the better that we get. I think the main purpose of it is just to really reflect on. I guess in a way, it's like sometimes patience is really golden. Sometimes, just by doing things for you could say a while, it just naturally has its beauty in it. And um, I know I've had a lot of my speaking mentors be like, Richard, you got to put in the work, you got to put in the hours in order to become a good speaker. And I'm just like, man, but I want to be a good speaker quick, like right now. Like tell me what I need to do. And I think there is a part of us that yes, we can grow, we can learn, we could develop. And there's another part of us where it's just like it's almost like we can't think ourselves out of our own thinking. It's like we're going to grow at the pace that we're going to grow because that's just how we naturally learn and grow. Um, Now, yes, there are ways to kind of hack ourselves, like growth hack ourselves in a way that's where we learn quicker. And yes, and I also think there's another side of it where it's just like when the timing is right, you'll just learn. And for some people, it'll take longer than others. Like for myself, I believe I'm a pretty slow learner. I You could say that's a limiting belief. It's not a belief I want to hold on to, but based off of like historical data points, I could see that my learning process is not super fast, or up until now has not been super fast. So same thing with basketball. Basketball is something that I've been playing for a really long time, and something almost feels like I've become a little bit like stagnant. Like I haven't really been improving a lot with my basketball. I've just been consistently playing over and over and over again, and it was little things like when I was one day I was just shooting right before a pickup game, and one of my friends who plays pickup with me, he's like, "Hey Richard, you know, I noticed that when you shoot, you put it like you use this arm a lot. Like you overcompensate with this arm, and like just try shooting with the one arm. You know, like straight up, and just flick flick the wrist. That's all. And at this point, I've been playing for so long that I have my own ways. You know, for me, I'm just like, oh man, like I gotta adapt and change. And then I realized like just by him teaching me this little trick, I was just like, huh, there's a lot of there's a good point to it. There's like it's a lot more consistent if I shoot in this way. So that was helpful. Another thing that I picked up by just more recently playing basketball was like one thing I'm learning to do is to just be more present, to just be more aware of what's going on and to slow down because in the past I used to have this tendency when I play basketball to just be like rush rush rush. I used to have this tendency of like okay, I gotta how do I say this? I have to like if I have the ball, just pass it to someone else. But no, it's slow down. What are my options? Do I can I beat my defender one on one? Can I beat him to the hoop? Is he expecting me to keep passing the ball because that's what I keep doing? Great. If he's expecting me to do that, then driving to the rim, he's not going to expect, and he's not going to be ready for it. So it's it's always like just developing and adding these little things to ourselves. So yes, Rez, good to see you on, brother. Good to see you on. Um, yeah. So practice. It's not about the practice. For me, practice is a beautiful thing. It's sometimes man, I just remember growing up. I just remember thinking about how back in the day I used to not like practicing. I used to not like I just wanted to play games, as in like this any kind of game. Like let's say when I was on a soccer team or a basketball team or whatever it is, I just wanted to play the games. I didn't actually want to practice. And till this day, I'm not gonna lie, I like just playing the game. It's more fun. It's more exciting. And um, so that feeling, I'm not gonna lie, is still there. But what I do realize is the more pickup games I play, or the more speaking presentations I do, or the more whatever I'm doing, what I realize is just, it's time is a beautiful thing. It's like just practicing something over and over and over again for a long time it's refreshing. It's like just to have that patience of uh, enjoying the journey and being okay with sucking a little bit. It's being okay that your skills aren't perfect. And yes, I do think that's a blessing. So that's what I got here. Goodness. Alrighty. I got a I got a lot of different thoughts going on right now. Um, I'm thinking about YouTube live videos, uh, live streams. Live streams. I'm just thinking about this because I think there's a gift. There's a gift to doing live streams, and I'm not saying that I have the gift. I'm just saying that in general, there's a gift and a talent to engage people and ask questions, make it interesting, make it meaningful, and all that kind of stuff. It's also like for me, my style is kind of like a screw it, just live stream, have fun with it, say whatever's on top of your mind. If it resonates with people, great. If it doesn't resonate with people, that's okay. It'll resonate with the people who want to hear it, And for anyone that doesn't resonate with, that's okay. And I believe live streaming is an art in a way. And for example, right now it's like, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I'm wondering like if I was more like focused in live streaming in a certain way, if I studied live streaming, if I studied how do I engage people, how do I make this impactful, meaningful, um, would that would that improve? Would that help me improve and be much better at doing this live stream than I am right now? And the answer is probably yes. And I think that's a very truthful answer. It's when you take time to master something through practice, I think you can learn so much more, but than just constantly doing. It's like that quote of um, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. You know, it's like I think in a way a lot. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but myself, I feel like that's something I do a lot. I think a lot of times I just hope that the more I just keep doing it, the better I will get. And yes, yes, the more I do live streams, the more I play basketball, the more I speak, I will get better. But if the goal is to get better quicker, I think there's more efficient ways, and that's by being intentional with how you do things. So there we go. The uncomfortable truth. All right. By the way, if you see me looking this way, it's because here's my setup. My monitor is broken, so I have to use this other monitor that's right here. Okay. So I'm reading. I'm reading the questions that I see over here. Sebastian, good to see you on. It's been a cool minute. Sebastian says, I feel the same just like you. I prefer playing on Saturdays against other teams than going to ping pong practices. Believe it or not, I'm an underdog and win on Saturdays against people that are stronger than me, and people get surprised. Yeah. So, goodness, I this is me being human, and I think this is a very human thing to do, which is, I think a lot of us as human beings, it's like we just like to enjoy the process. You know, we just like to have fun with it. So practices. I'm just thinking, reflecting back at practices. Practices can get kind of boring sometimes. Yesterday was yesterday. Hey, good to see you on. Long time no see. Um, let's see. So yeah, I'm thinking back. So I used to be a swimmer in high school, and I remember. Well, I used to be a swimmer for a long time in my life, like at least 10 years or so. And when I was a swimmer, I realized like practices, waking up for practices were not fun. Like I just waking up so early, nah. But once I got into swim meets, going to swim meets, like competitions, like those were fun. Those were exciting. So, but you know, I think there is a beauty to practicing, and yeah, continuing to look forward to that love of practice. So I would say it's a mindset. It's loving practice like when no one's watching you kind of practice. I think that's a beautiful mindset to have, that you know some people have and other people don't have as much. It's something that I'm continuing to work towards. It's a challenge for me. It's like it's so much more applicable in real life when you actually use that skill. So like ping pong, if you're playing in a ping pong tournament, it's like you're going to um, you're going to be more present, and you're going to actually like learn in the moment too. So yeah. Goodness. I just had a little side thought here, and I would say my side thought. NJ Grant, good to see you. I would say my quick side thought is going to the gym. So currently, I'm going to the gym regularly, 4 times a week. And Scott, if you're still on while driving, I switched my gym schedule. I used to do quote unquote 7 days. Well, not quote unquote. I used to do 7 days a week, which sounds more impressive than 4 days a week. But I've adapted it so my 4 days a week are more impactful than my 7 days, and they're more efficient. They are longer workouts. They are like typically about an hour 15 minutes on average, but it's like I'm pushing myself, and it's like it's a nice like it's a nice balance. It's like I'm pushing myself until I'm sore, like in the weights section, and then when there's a lot of I do half my time is split with cardio, the other half is weights. So when I'm doing cardio, I always use the treadmill for cardio, and I used to hate running, and sometimes the one thing I do like about the treadmill now is like so I know when I'm on a treadmill, it's like I know when I'm tired. I know when my body's just like, oh man, I feel crappy. I don't want to do this. And I know that as long as I keep, increasing the speed, it's like I know my body can handle it. Um, I may not want to do it, but I know my body can handle it. And the thing is with the treadmill is you can't stop. You know, your legs have to keep moving. But if I'm running outside and I don't feel like doing it anymore, guess what? It's harder for me to push myself to keep going. So, yes, that is accountability. Not in the most positive way. Like ideally, I want to be able to run outside, and when I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, to just keep pushing, keep pushing. But for now, the treadmill is a great way to do it. It's like it pushes me where I'm just like, dude, I don't want to do this, but I have whatever 1 mile left or half a mile left. Like just push, just go. So in general, I think whenever we're pushing ourselves, that just builds up that, you could say, mental toughness. It builds up that the resilience in us, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, yeah, that's what I got. All right, I see some comments here. NJ says my new prime minister will trust will trash Justin Trudeau. +1, right on. Nice one, nice one. Um, yes. So today's stream, in general, I'm gonna try to keep a little bit shorter, like I mentioned whenever we first started, because I am tired. Usually on days I do presentations when I come back home after commuting and talking and speaking, I like to just kind of chill and relax, which I did earlier, and I want to like lie down on the bed right now. Like I'm good to go. Um, yes. Okay. So real quick for anyone, Tim Young, anyone else who might be on who signed up for the Own Your Life Challenge in February, please forgive me. I'm having some conversations around that within myself. So if anyone's watching, we're supposed to start yesterday. It's the second today, and I sent out a quick little email, but I get to follow up with that. So anyway, if you're doing Own Your Life Challenge stuff, just know that I will follow up. And right now, I'm just trying to work through some thoughts, and there's a lot of a few moving pieces that I got to work through. So yeah. NJ says, question, what food can you give you more metabolism? I'm not a good person to ask that question. I'm not very, let's see, I'm not good with diets and stuff like that. I just do my best. If anyone has an answer to that, what food is good for metabolism, feel free to let NJ Grant know that on YouTube, or just post and post it, and I'll transfer the info. Alternatively, just Google search foods that are good for metabolism, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of information. When in doubt, Google it. Tim, thank you for saying no worries. I appreciate that. Sebastian says, last year I was more passionate about ping pong and I would go to practice every week, but now I'm so stressed about failing my entry exam for flight school. I think I have a hard time balancing it out. Let's see. Yeah. That's I mean, the best thing I could say in that situation, Sebastian, is like when when we have work to do and we're stressed out, it's like, when we have stuff to do, we get to do this stuff. We get to just continue studying hard and focusing on the exam. And then the stress is naturally going to come up because it's a little bit of it's like a response, a natural human response that we do. And I would say there's a part of me that just feels like the stress doesn't always have to be there. It's a natural response, but we can control our stress by reminding ourselves to relax, to calm down, to breathe, and to just know that the stress is not going to support us. And I believe there's a way to get everything done. As in, the question in coaching often is, how can you have it all? How can you do well on your entry exam as well as enjoy ping pong practice? And I think that's kind of, whatever. Part of it is kind of working smarter, not harder. And it's honestly what I find very interesting about stress is sometimes we spend so much energy and focus on stressing that if we just let go of the stress, like it will save us time. And with that saved time, we could actually take that saved time and use it towards something that's more enjoyable. So it doesn't mean you're spending less time on studying. It just means that you are studying. You're studying either same amount, maybe a little bit more. You're not stressing, so you could take that energy and also do things to decompress yourself, to unwind, which is such as playing ping pong. So I definitely think there's a way to do everything and just balance. It's yeah, it's calmness. It's being grounded, centered, whatever you want to call it, meditation. I think there's a lot of ways to just not stress ourselves out so much. So that's something that I continue to do every single day. Just remind myself that it's okay to how do I say this? It's okay to just slow down a little bit. It's okay to not stress out. So when I'm feeling stressed, actually, I've changed my mindset. When I was younger and I felt stressed, it used to always mean like, oh shoot, I have so much work to do. I got to get it done and blah, 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 blah. I got to get it done. What am I going to do? And now it's like, when I do work, it's like, hey, wow, I'm feeling stressed right now. Like, I'm feeling really stressed. And that doesn't, to me, that's not like the trigger is no longer like, okay, Richard, if you're feeling stressed, it means you gotta double down. You gotta get all your work done. No, to me, if I'm feeling stressed, it's the opposite now. It's now like, okay, I have a lot of work to do. What do I need to do right now to relax, calm down, so I could focus on enjoying my work and get everything done anyway, And a lot of it is just taking a step back and recalibrating, rethinking like, okay, what are my priorities for today? And just focusing on my priorities, And sometimes I don't get all my work done. And I'm learning to be okay with that. I'm learning to focus on getting the most important things done. So once the most critical tasks, the most viable tasks are complete, it's like, if I don't accomplish everything else, it's okay because I did what was most important for me today. And if I'm hitting all the high value stuff, then it's like it's not important if I missed the low value stuff. Those are just bonuses. So that's what I got. Alrighty. Yeah. All right. So like I said, I don't want to hang out too long tonight because I'm a little exhausted and I want to take a little bit of a break. One thing that I'm working on is to not spread myself out too thin, and I got to take care of myself, and I think we all got to take care of ourselves. So if you're on watching this, don't forget to take care of yourself. We all have a ton of different responsibilities, a lot of things that want our attention, and don't forget to take care of yourself. Take some time for yourself. So yeah, I want to wrap up this conversation. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask, but I'm going to wrap it up. Today's conversation is about practice and how the more we do practice, the better we get. That's obviously an obvious statement that I understand, that pretty much we all understand, that more practice equals we get better. The main purpose of this conversation is, I would say, a little bit twofold, which is, one, we always know there's a smarter way to practice, as in like, sometimes we get caught up as humans. We're like creatures of habit. Like when we do one thing, we keep doing it the same exact way, over and over because it's easier to do. Some of us, we're adaptive and we're like, how can I make this more efficient? But it's a very non-natural thing as a human being to do, in my opinion. But it's a very constructive thing. Like if you start thinking differently on how can you improve, whatever thing you're trying to work on, like let's say studying. Let's say you're like, ooh, I want to do better on this test. So instead of studying for 5 hours, I'm going to study for 8 hours today. What if instead of studying for 3 hours more, you just shift the way you study? Instead of studying by reading the book, what if you studied by meeting up with a group or, asking, getting tutoring? Will that cut the amount of time that it takes you to learn the same amount of information? So that's number one is practicing more efficiently, which is a harder thing to do, which is something that I struggle with too. And I think the second point, which is the one that kind of fascinates me for today, is I think one thing that's really beautiful about, like, if there's a skill you want to develop, whether that's coding or graphic design or filming, cinematography, video work, speaking, playing a sport, an instrument, a craft, your work, studying skills, like what making more money, whatever it is, I think there is such a beauty in just appreciating the journey of getting better. It's on my journey, it's speaking. I've been speaking for almost 4 years now, and it's this journey. It's like it's so not perfect. It's like you would think 4 years later I would be this speaking god in a way. Like I'm kidding, but like you would think that I'm like I would think I'm like, okay, you're 4 years in, you should be a bit of a master now. You should have your quote unquote 10,000 hours. Was it Malcolm Gladwell? It's like this to become an expert of it. So, but the thing, like, it's just like you just gotta keep going. Just don't feel bad for not being perfect or great. At whatever craft it is. You just enjoy how you're messing up and keep going. And to me, that makes me excited for the next time I speak. That makes me excited for the next time I go play basketball. Like, I only play basketball once a week, just because of timing. But honestly, like, I'm looking forward to the next time I play basketball. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be like I gotta sit there. I gotta like really focus and observe and work on like, huh, what is this person thinking about me? Like I can tell they're reading me. So how do I kind of shift that? Yes. So Justine Noah says, is this live stream a daily thing? Yes, this live stream right now is currently a daily thing. And I've done over I've probably done over 300 of these now. Um, and honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. No matter how many live streams I've done, it's not like people just give feedback. So I've never really figured out like what is the best system for doing live streams. Should I be doing it 7 days a week like I have been doing for the past, I don't know, month, 2 months? More recently, I took a little hiatus. Or should I do it several days a week? And sometimes it's one of those things where you got to do like consumer research, whatever it is. It's like, would it be more effective? Would more people engage and be on if I only did it once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, versus 7, where whatever it is, you see me every single day, you run out of questions, whatever it is. So, and also, honestly, there are sometimes I feel like I'm like, I just I wish I could take a break today, or I want to take a like today was one of those days I didn't want to take a break, but guess what? I said I would do 7 days a week, so I'm doing it right now. That's why I'm still on right now. But I'm also not trying to torture myself. But honestly, live videos are like they're fun for me. As long as people are engaging and asking questions, like that's the best part to me. Like that's why I love doing it. But if I'm talking to myself, that's no bueno. It's no es divertido. Like it's not fun. Sometimes it is, but most times it just feels like I'm talking to myself. Anyway, with that being said, I'm still doing it 7 days a week. I'm still trying to figure out what's a good system to do it. If you got thoughts, let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to keep it as is and keep thinking. Justine says the best is to ask us questions about how we feel on a certain thing or relate the same way. So there's a two-way flow. Ooh. Okay. Thank you for that, Justine. Ask questions about how we feel on certain thing or relate the same way. So there's a two-way flow. Awesome. Okay. I will keep that in mind. That's a good idea. And yeah, asking questions. I will like that. This is what I mean, like just such a simple suggestion. By you just mentioning that, like it just saves me so much processing and thinking time. Like I could have been doing this, live stream for another year before I realized asking questions that way would be a good idea. So it's great to have that kind of feedback. The next thing I get to do is to actually apply it, is to ask those questions and come up with those questions too. So this requires breaking out of our old habits of what the way that we do things. Like for me, I have my own quote unquote style, which I don't think is the most efficient way to do things. I don't think it's the most engaging live stream. I definitely think there's ways to improve it. So, Justine, thank you for that. And I look forward to kind of adapting that more. If you're like, Richard, yo, give us some questions. Ask me for questions, or you all could ask me for questions. I would like if I forget. I love engaging conversation. So that would be great. Let's see. And Nick Fiacco, good to see you on again. Nick Fiacco says, is it normal to go into college not knowing what career you will end up taking? That is so normal. Like, I don't know the statistics around it, but like, I'm pretty sure it's well above 50% of people who go to college without knowing what they want to do. I was one of them. Ha. I would like to think I turned out okay. And yeah, it's like, you have no idea. No idea how many people are in that same boat as you. Like, there's too many people. And um, the thing about life is you don't need to have it figured out right now. Like, you don't really ever need to have it figured out. Of course, we all want some sort of certainty. We all want some sort of direction. And my encouragement to you, if you don't know what you want to do, is just continue to explore. Just follow your heart. Like, follow your bliss wherever your heart wants to go. I would just do that. It's like life is too short to be so serious about getting a job and making money and all that kind of stuff. Yes, of course, realistically, you need to make money and all that kind of stuff. But set yourself up in a way that you're just enjoying what you're learning. Maybe yesterday or the day before, I made an example of like, if you hated accounting versus, you're interested in theater, you don't think you'll get a job in theater, but there's a theater major, which one do you take? My opinion is just go to theater. Like, just because you don't see yourself getting a job there, at least you're interested in it and you're doing something you like, versus accounting, which you absolutely hate, and you don't want a job there because you're going to be miserable there. So this is just an example. I'm not saying, we got accountants, I get it. No offense, accountants. But on the real, accounting is boring for me. I would hate to do that. So, yes, that's what I got there. It's okay to not know what you want. Push yourself out there. Take internships, join clubs, just expose yourself. Like, get yourself out there and just keep exploring. What do you want to do? And it takes time. It takes time to learn. We all figure out quote unquote life at a different point of time. And I want to make a quick note that nobody has their life figured out. Like, nobody has their life figured out. We're all figuring it out. I don't care how successful you are. We're all still trying to figure out life. There is always more to learn and grow. So, yep, that's what I got. Alrighty. Justine Noel says, I'm kind of having a hard time being too attached to my girlfriend of 4 months. It's like her mood affects me and I miss her like almost all the time. I really want to get out of this cycle, but I can't. It's not as easy as getting a new hobby or do new things when all I think of her is her and everything I do. Kitty, good to see you on. Miss you too. It's been a while. It's been a few days, weeks, a week. Okay, Justine, back to you on your question. So you're feeling a little too attached to your girlfriend 4 months, and her mood affects you a lot. Essentially what I'm hearing you say is that you want to become a little bit more independent and like just be able to be okay by yourself. And what I'm hearing or what I'm sensing from this is that your self-worth, a lot of your self-worth and self-identity is attached to your girlfriend. And in a way, I think it's kind of cool, like, when it comes to the positive side, when it comes to like, oh, like I feel really connected, whatever, I love you, I have all these emotions and feelings for you. I think that it helps to create that I don't know. I don't know if it helps exactly, but I have a feeling that it supports creating like a connection or whatever. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying, and I think attachment is it can be uh, a dangerous place. And so when I think about relationships, I think relationships. A lot of I didn't make this up. Someone else made it up, and I'm learning from it. Relationships is not two halves coming together to make a whole. It's one whole plus one whole coming together to make two people with a shared experience. That's what it is. So when it comes to attachment to a girlfriend, I think it's knowing that for me, it's like um, when it comes to dating, what I realize is like I try to be very mindful to not depend on my partner to a solve my all my problems, number and b to be my source of happiness. To be my only source of happiness. Of course, our partner will be our source of happiness, but I think it's really important to remember to find happiness within ourselves. So the question I ask sometimes is, would I be happy if I didn't have my partner? Would I be happy just being single in this moment right now? And if my answer is no, I wouldn't be, then I need to think about the answer. Okay, let's just say I was single. You can still be in a relationship, but just mentally, just think you're single. Um, what can I do right now to make me happy? So, without involving your girlfriend, what can you do right now to make yourself happy? And the thing about relationships is like this is to me this is why it's really important to be dating someone who is mature, who also understands this concept of relationships are two individuals coming together for a shared experience. Um, because like if your partner is also feeding into that, like if your partner is also very codependent, they're very like I don't want to say clingy necessarily. Some of them might be clingy, but they're so dependent on you. They're going to keep kind of luring and like, oh, come hang out with me or whatever it is, and they're going to suck you in, and then you're going to accept it because you're also codependent too. Like you want a relationship where you want to spend time together all the time, which is this is getting a little mixed up here. Um, anyway, answer the question. In my opinion, if you want to learn to not be so attached to your girlfriend, is to learn how to be happy by yourself. I'm not saying to distance yourself from your girl and to stop talking to her. I'm just saying, focus on creating happiness with yourself and then sharing that with your girlfriend. So figure out time to be an individual as opposed to just being there with your girlfriend all the time. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you have more questions, let me know, please. I'm here to support for sure. Yes, and Justine, by the way, you said you really want to get out of the cycle, but you can't. The answer, I want to challenge that. You can get out of the cycle. Anyone can get out of the cycle. Okay, it's more understand like asking. I think the better question to ask is how do you get out of the cycle? How do you break the cycle? So uh, questions are really powerful, and so are statements. So if you keep believing that you can't do it, guess what? Your mind is ready. I can't do it. I can't do it. And guess what? You're not going to do it because you don't believe you can. You got to break the cycle of that belief. You have to change your belief to be like, okay, I can do it. Now, how do I do it? How do I break the cycle? How do I stop being so attached to my girlfriend and her emotions and all that kind of stuff? So that's I would say that's the first place to start. Okay, if you got more questions, let me know. Um, Kitty says, I did your challenge. I looked in the mirror. So did you get caught up with Rick and Morty? Happy to see you uh, not sick. I haven't watched Rick and Morty in too long. Okay. That's awesome that you looked in the mirror. Kitty, let me know how that worked for you. Yes, I am. I'm still a little bit sick. You can hear my coughs, but overall, I'm doing much better, which is awesome. Boggy says, Richard, you were at my school today, Stella Mill Charter Academy. Yeah, what's going on? Your school's awesome. This is the second time I've been at second time, yeah, you can say second time I've been at Stella Middle Charter Academy in Los Angeles. Awesome school. I love it. You guys are such a good audience, super attentive people. I was really sad. I only had like 15 to 20 minutes to present, which is way too short. It was so rushed and I couldn't get into everything. Usually when I present, I like to like 30 to 40 minutes is a really great spot to kind of explain everything, hit all the points. But I pretty much only had half the time, so you get what you get. So yeah, Boggy, thank you, appreciate that a lot. And I still feel a little bit sad I wasn't able to go deep. Again, my presentation got cut in half, so all the details and the stories and all that kind of stuff, it was hard to share. But thanks for hopping on, I appreciate it. Justine says, I've tried doing new things and trying new hobbies, like hanging out more with my friends, but all I can think of is her, everything I do. You know what? Like, this is a little confusing. I mean, if she's your girlfriend and all you can think about her is her, in a way, it's like, it's kind of a compliment to her. It's kind of a... I remember those days. The first girlfriend I ever had, like, I just kept thinking about her, like, nonstop. And it was like, she was essentially my world. And yes, I think it got to a little bit more of the codependent, she's my other half type deal. But yeah, I don't know, feeling attached, I guess, really, I think it's okay to always think about your significant other. I think that's okay. I think the problem is when you feel attached and your happiness in a way depends on her. Being independent, being attached to her and her emotions. I guess I feel like there's pros and cons to this. I don't want to say it's all completely bad. I think caring and thinking about your significant other is it's kind of cute. Like there's positives to it. Again, with the whole attachment, it's learning is like continuing to push yourself to be your individual self. To continue to have your own identity versus your identity only being about you and you with your partner, and that's it. So have your own identity. I think that's really important to keeping a healthy relationship. So, yeah. Let me know if you have more questions, Justine. We're here. Kitty says, how I felt. I almost cried and felt ashamed, if that is what you want to hear. What do you mean what I want to hear? What I want to hear, I want to hear just whatever is raw and real to you. It's okay. Look, don't judge yourself for how you feel. And thank you for sharing. I want to hear whatever is true to you. So if it wasn't quote unquote a positive experience to you, it's okay. And I say it's okay. To me, even if it was not a positive experience, to me it was a positive experience. Why? It's because the more we push ourselves to do things like this, the more we create self-awareness. We create experiences and more wisdom about ourselves. So initially, like, let's say you looked in the mirror, you looked at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, oh man, I'm so ugly, you're hideous, I don't like you, I hate you, whatever it is. I hope those were the words you used, but if that is what you were saying to yourself, just know that just notice how you treat yourself and take it as an opportunity to just be aware. And from there, you can start shifting things into like, okay, so that's how I felt. Wow, I didn't realize how harsh I was to myself, can I change this? Is this really who I am? And this all goes down to stories. What's the story that you're telling yourself? Do you want to keep telling yourself that you're worthless, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're not, all that stuff? or do you want to change the story that you have? And um, uh, this is fine. This is for was it Boggy? Yeah, for Boggy and anyone else who was here at my presentation today. I talked about stories today. I talked about how we all live with stories, you know, and it's up to us. Like the ultimate, the ultimate reality is, at the end of the day, what is the story you want to tell yourself? Because whatever story you tell yourself becomes your truth. And one thing that I've recently defined is our family, our friends, how we see our family and how we see our friends, those are all just stories of how we see them. So for example, let's say we have a um goodness, that gets a little deep. Okay, sorry. This is getting really deep. So please forgive me if this, you know, hits home. And if it does, I hope it kind of supports in some way. So let's say, man, this is so deep. Okay, let's say you have. I don't want to go here. It's way too deep. It could trigger some things. So let's say you have you had a friend. Ah, goodness, I'm sorry. This is okay. Let's say you have a friend who's a good friend, but all of a sudden they did something messed up to you, and now you're enemies and you don't talk to them anymore. You hate them, whatever. And then your story of your friend becomes, oh, you know, like this person is such a disloyal person. You know, they're untrustworthy. They're scummy, like whatever it is. That becomes your story of who they are, and or maybe, you know, like that is your truth. It doesn't make it true, it makes it your truth. So just because you think they're a scummy person, it doesn't mean the rest of the world sees it that way, you know. And I think a lot of times we like to think we're right. We're like, oh, I know them, I know what kind of person they really are. And the thing is, sure, okay, to you that's true, and maybe there is some truth to it, but at the end of the day, we all have our own truths. So to another person, that person might be, oh shoot, like, you know, actually that person's really nice. They're genuinely nice, and it's kind of like that. Oh, I'm sorry you saw that. You know, you feel that way about them, but I know this person does not brag about how he donates to charity. You know, I happen to know because I accidentally saw a donation receipt, whatever. But he doesn't really talk about that side of him, you know, because he just wants to do it. Anyway, the point is, like, we all have stories, and we have the potential to change it. So if you don't like the way you look, we can change the story. For me, I used to not like the way I look. I used to not want to look in the mirror because I hated myself. I hated the way I looked, and I changed my story. I changed my story from Richard, you're fat, you're ugly, you're not good enough, all that stuff, to number one, okay, you're fat, start losing some weight. You're ugly, no, you're not. It's like that. Change the story. Yep. Kitty says, so let me get this straight. Oldest is Michelle, then Kevin, then you. Yep. Your favorite snacks are Tim Tams. You like Lucky Charms. You love Pokemon and Rick and Morty. Am I right? Wow. Becoming my number one stalker, huh? Love it. Just kidding. Just kidding. I appreciate that that attention to detail. Let's see. So Michelle, Kevin, myself. Yes, that's the order. My favorite snacks, I can't say are Tim Tams, although Tim Tams are delicious. I don't eat them anymore because they are super unhealthy, but they are delicious. Lucky Charms, I like Lucky Charms. I used to. So, how do you know that Lucky Charms one? I don't remember talking about that. So, man, that is so. That's interesting that you know that. Yeah. So when I was younger, Costco used to always sell a 3-pack of cereal, Lucky Charms, Trix, and Cocoa Puffs. And everyone knew in my family, I don't know if this is the same story I mentioned, but the 3 siblings and us, always knew top tier is Lucky Charms, and then Trix, and then Cocoa Puffs. It was just the hierarchy of cereal. And me being the youngest, for some reason, I always felt like I was last, and I always got the Cocoa Puffs, aka the dog food. I wanted I wanted the Lucky Charms, which I very rarely got. But anyway, so that's my story about Lucky Charms and why Lucky Charms have are the bougie cereal, the luxury cereal of my childhood. Yeah. Yes, but Pokemon was definitely a huge part of my life, and Rick and Morty, I watched, I like binge watched all the Rick and Morty episodes sometime in 2017. I think it's a funny show. I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, Justine, you're welcome. Let's see. Kitty says, I just listened to what you say. My favorite speaker. You are always there for me. And I mean, you're always here for us. So thank you. John Wong says, a sense of personal unforgiveness. What's the context there? You have a sense of personal unforgiveness? Sorry. Let's see. Kitty says, I know myself better than you, Richard, I think. Stalker, Richard, you turned. Kevin likes Cocoa Puffs. Kevin does not like Cocoa Puffs. We all wanted Lucky Charms. That was number one. We all had the same preferences. And honestly, I think we all had the same preferences because I was a total a sheep. You know, I was always everything my brother and sister wanted, I wanted too. So let's say my heart really wanted Cocoa Puffs, but my brother and sister said, "Oh no, Lucky Charms are the best." Guess what? I would have wanted Lucky Charms. Why? Because my brother and sister said so. So that's how I operated when I was young. It's, you know, I didn't have a preference besides whatever my brother and sister liked. So it's like, yeah, like I was such a follower in that way, in not a good way. Okay. John Wong says, what advice would you give to someone who feels like they can't push forward? Like, I have things I practice, but I have a lot of negative emotions that keep me from going. So you have things you practice, but you have a lot of negative emotions that keep you from going. So John, what I'm hearing is that whatever these negative emotions are, and by the way, anyone else, this applies to you as well, which is, if you have any negative emotions, that means you're still holding on to those emotions. And if you're holding on to the emotions, if you want to get better and move forward, you get to let go of those emotions. So what does that mean? It means literally, it's like, I understand. How do I say this? So whenever we feel stuck, it's because we're so fixated, we're so focused on our past self. You know, we're so focused on our story, our history, our story that this is who we are. You know, the story of like, oh, this person hurt me, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable, you know, I'm not confident, I'm not strong enough, I'm not good looking enough, you know. These are stories. They're not truths. So if you're feeling stuck, this is like a very basic general tip that I believe applies. It's universal in my opinion. It's, the idea is, if you want to, let's say you have a certain goal you want to accomplish, to keep it simple, let's say your goal is to get straight A's this quarter semester or whatever it is. But you're just like, oh man, but I can't, you know, I'm so stupid. I've only gotten F's in my life. You know, I've always failed all D's, C's, D's, and F's. Like, that's all I get. There's no way I can get straight A's. Guess what? As long as you keep holding on to that story that you are a C, D, and F student, you're only going to get C's, D's, and F's. Until you decide that you're going to let go of your story. You're going to let go of the idea that, oh man, I'm so stupid, I can't do it. When you change your story, when you change your story and you start focusing on your future, let go of the past, focus on the future. Focus on the future that says, you know what? I am capable of doing this. Is it going to be tough? Yes, of course it's going to be tough to get straight A's. I've never done it before. Is it possible? Yes, it is. For me? Yes. Am I scared? Yes. Can I do it? Yes. Am I going to do it? Yeah, we can do it. So you're gonna hesitate. You're gonna resist. You know, you want to keep believing your past because your past is like, oh well, this is who I am, you know. I can't change myself. I'm just not that smart. So um, I get it. I'm not saying be completely blind to the person that you are. Just know that the biggest thing getting in our way is ourselves. Like that's the number one thing getting into everyone's ways of their own goals and their visions is themselves. So if you want to improve yourself, it starts with changing your belief system. You know, changing your stories. Stop focusing on your past. Stop focusing on your past self. Focus on your future self. I'm gonna give one more example because I think sometimes it can be really confusing. So, um, an example is like, well, I'm thinking about a quote right now, which is like, it's hard. I'm gonna butcher this quote a little bit, but the idea is like, it's hard. I'm thinking about the Steve Jobs quote. It's hard to connect the dots looking forward or whatever it is. Anyway, I don't know if this is relevant, but my main point is like, it's hard to achieve your goal. That goal, let's say, um, yep, okay. Let's say your goal is to get straight A's. It's hard to achieve straight A's if all you're doing is you're focusing on the F's, the D's, and the C's, the D's, and the F's. Like you're focusing on that past. Um, it's only when we start looking at this goal and focusing on this goal of getting straight A's that we can achieve it. Why? It's because we don't have that vision, you know? It's not going to happen until we have that vision. Yes, there are some cases where you might quote unquote get lucky, or it might happen. I'm not saying that that's not possible. That kind of happened to me. But if you want to get to your goal, the more you can clearly see it, like, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Let's get those straight A's. The more you're able to actually achieve that goal. So, all right, am I going to dig into this? All right, we're going to dig into this one. Okay, so, wow, I was planning to be on 15 minutes and we are almost an hour in, which is awesome. Good questions. So let's talk about, I want to talk about my own personal goals. So I was creating a 10-year vision for myself, and on my 10-year vision, I put I was looking, Google searching images of like, you know, what do I want my body type to look like? And keep in mind, when I did this 10-year vision, this was like maybe last year or so. This was when I was weighing like 180 pounds. You know, I was overweight. I was chubby. You know, I was I was big. And I was just searching. I'm like, you know, I don't want to be like super. I don't want to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I want to have like a nice body and whatever it is. And then, you know, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I ended up picking a photo of like Chris Hemsworth, and then some other random Asian guy that I don't know who he is. Anyway, so to me, I looked at these two. I'm like, man, dude, how did these two guys like get their bodies like that? Like, I'm still chubby. I'm still like, you know, I'm overweight, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna have motivation to get a body like that. And that was like maybe a year, sometime last year, you know, and all of a sudden I got people. I don't think Scott Huynh is on right now, but Scott Huynh, who is my friend Scott Huynh, and I made an agreement. Hey, let's go to the gym. You know, let's both agree to work out every single day for 2 months. And we did that. And that was literally the kickoff point for me to start shifting my mindset. And up until that point, like, that was this really scary commitment to commit. Imagine if you don't exercise at all, like just barely exercise. Like I hated going to the gym, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not being really healthy. All right, screw it. Let's both agree to going to the working out every single day. So that was a kickoff point to getting healthier. And guess what? After those 2 months, honestly, like I didn't feel like I really looked better or anything like that. I maintained my weight, but I didn't look that much better. But the third month, or sorry, the second to the third month, I noticed, I'm like, wow, like I'm actually, my body's changing. It's like I went from 180. By the way, I've lost like 20 pounds now in 2 months, and like I'm just like, this was my 10-year goal, or it was more like a 7 or 8 year goal. 7 to 8 year goal to have a body like Chris Hemsworth. Is that going to happen? Meh, we'll see. But my point is like, where I'm at right now with my body, I'm just like, whoa, it's so possible. Like, I didn't know that was possible. You know, it's like, I don't, my body's not like that, but like, the way it's going right now, it's like, oh my goodness, like Chris Hemsworth got nothing on me. You know, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But it's like, my mindset has shifted. So that's the power of looking into your vision, looking forward into where you want to go versus looking at your past. I can't do this. You know, I hate the gym. My body, I'm just chubby. That's just the way I am. So focus on the vision, and that will help you get there. Okay. Let's see. Cereal is bad. I'd rather have bread than cereal, you know. Um, yeah, I don't eat cereal, and I don't really eat bread either. I stay away from processed goods, although once in a while I will have some processed goodness. Yes. Kitty Marie says, not a sucker. I just know you and pay attention. You, your turn. Let's see if you pay attention as well. I challenge you. Kitty, first of all, please know that I'm completely kidding about being a stalker. That is more of a compliment than anything else. It is not an insult, okay? So I hope you don't feel offended by that. Let's see. Attention. Let's see. Noticing as well. I will do my best. I don't know if this is a limiting belief, but I seriously, up until now, I still struggle so much with my memory. Like it's, one of my insecurities that I have is like, sometimes I get anxiety going back, like speaking at schools or conferences, because people are like, hey Richard, hey, do you remember me? I'm just like, like I don't know, like I feel so bad. It's like I do my best to remember people. It's just like there's this, like I don't know what, I just feel bad. Like what do I do? You know, my mind only remembers as much as it wants to remember. You know, like I'm sure there's parts I can control about that, but like for the most part, just naturally, I don't remember people very well. You know, I don't remember details. So, but I do my best. So I will do my best. Okay. I don't know if that was even worth mentioning, but yeah. Bruce Lee, yeah. David, good to see you on. Let's see. John Wong says, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Lao Tzu. Yeah, that's a good quote. I like it. Thank you, John. David W says, any recommendations for morning depression? If I have a lot of on my plate, mornings seem awful sometimes. So if you have a lot on your plates, the first thing that comes to my mind is try meditation. And I don't know how into meditation or that kind of stuff you are, but what I find is, first of all, if you're new to meditation, meditation is it's kind of tedious. It's kind of boring. It takes patience and practice. It takes time to like get used to it. But sometimes, by the way, meditation doesn't have to be what you think it is. Meditation can just be whatever you make of it. Like you can create your own quote unquote meditation. You could create your own. Like meditation could be writing. Meditation could be singing. It could be it can be journaling. You know, it's meditating is just calming yourself down. Or actually doing a 5-minute guided meditation. The one I do is literally it's if you YouTube search 5-minute guided meditation, it's like one of the first ones that pop up. It's called it's by the Honest Brothers. It's the one with the yellow sidebar and some water or something like that. That's the one I typically do in the morning. And sometimes I don't feel like doing that, and I'll do a different kind of meditation, or I'll just sit there, whatever it is. So if you're feeling depressed and overwhelmed in the morning, try meditating, and letting go. Letting go is so big. I think letting go and letting go is such a vague, big term, but I think there's so much power to it, and I think holding on to things is what creates a lot of unhappiness. So when we just let go of our feelings, emotions, let go of like needing to control everything in our life, I think things start getting a little bit better. So if you're feeling depressed, I would say breathe, meditate, and don't resist your emotions. Don't try to suppress or resist whatever you're feeling. The more what you resist persists. So if you're feeling negative emotions, the more you hold on to it, the more it's going to stay there. So you just, when it comes to any kind of negative emotions, you just have to feel it. You just have to let it go and let it flow. When you just let it flow, when you just feel it out and you're like, okay, it's cool. You know, I'm not going to resist you. I'm just going to let you go. You know, I'm going to let you come here. You know, I'll feel it. I'll feel sad. I'll feel depressed. And that's okay. I know you're going to go away eventually. And maybe sometimes it takes longer. Like, just be patient. You know, sometimes you don't have to sit there and wait for it to go. Just carry on your day. You know, invite yourself to feel the emotion. Invite yourself to let it go. If it doesn't go right away, just continue on your day and just let it be. And eventually it'll go away. So don't focus so much energy around it. And I get it's easier said than done. Everything I'm saying is so much easier said than done. I get that. So one step at a time, you will get it. Just keep trying, okay? That's what I got. All right. Kitty says, you did not do it. I want to see how much you know about me. I will not take anything personal. How much do I know about you? How much have you revealed? Goodness. Okay, so Kitty wants me to say how much I know about her. Ooh. What have you mentioned? I mean, I can start off with you have a bad habit. You have a bad habit. I mean, like, I could talk about the actions you've done. I know we did the 7 reasons why you're worthy / not worthy. You like to support people. You're very supportive of yourself. Sorry, you're very supportive of other people. You're good at complimenting people, but you have a hard time complimenting yourself. Man, I know some details about more of your bad habits, which I don't really want to get into. What else is there? You don't like Rick and Morty. Oh goodness, what did you mention? Sorry, please forgive. Like, that's my memory. Yeah. I mean, there's more there. Nothing's coming to me right now. Okay? So, that's my brain. That's where it's going. All right. Davey W says, thank you so much, Richard. Yeah. I'll try meditating. It wasn't that helpful when I tried it because I'm pretty ADD, but I'll give the video a go. So David, I just want to let you know that I'm pretty ADD as well. So let me give you a very solid real life example. I went to a 10-day meditation retreat. Literally 10 days straight of meditating in the middle of a desert, no technology. There is no talking, no eye contact with anyone. You just focus on yourself and meditating the whole entire day from when you wake up all the way to when you go to sleep. Like, they purposely minimize everything. Like, the purpose is to just meditate for 10 days. And for me, like, I went in, I'm like, okay, well, if there's nothing else to do, I'll meditate, right? Out of the 10 days I was there, 95% of my time was spent thinking about something else besides the present moment. 95% of the time I was not meditating. And guess what? The whole time I was pushing myself to meditate. So only 5% was I focused. That's ridiculous. Like, you would think after a few days you would get better. But for me, no. It was so hard. And it was so discouraging. I'm like, Richard, just focus. Focus. So that plus daily meditations, like I've done so much of it, and please don't be discouraged by this, but like I don't know, it's like meditation to me is still annoys me. I still have such a hard time getting present and all that kind of stuff. But because I've put in at least some hours, you know, I don't know how many hours, a few hundred hours of, you know, attempting meditation, I understand meditation is not about doing. You know, meditation is about being. Meditation is not about following what they tell me to do. The, you know, guided meditation tells me to do. Meditation to me is about being present in this moment. Is like literally hearing the birds chirp. It's feeling the cool breeze. It's feeling the warmth, feeling the floor beneath my feet. It's just being present. You know, to stop focusing on all the distractions that I have. And guess what? Every single day when I meditate, I always get distracted. Ooh, what do I have to do today? Oh, no. Focus returned. And then sometimes the 5 minutes will just pass by and I'll like, oh man, I wasn't even focused. It happens. Let it be. Okay. That's what I got. Alrighty. Kitty says, I loved it. It was so funny. No, I did not like Rick and Morty. I haven't revealed that much, have I? I don't know. I don't feel like you've revealed that much, Kitty Murray. David Douglas says, being in the now, I got you. Yeah, having it be a goal not to get distracted seems unreasonable, really. Yeah, I'm still working on it. That's what I have. Okay. Wow, this went over an hour more than I thought it would today. I was tired. I do feel more energetic because of your interactions, people. So thank you. Thank you for interacting and hanging out with me. I'm going to hop off now, rest a little bit, and yes, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. David, Kitty, and let's see, John, NJ, like anyone else. Sorry if I'm missing your name. I know a lot of you on. I just want to say thank you again for just hopping on. Seriously, you all are serious. Like you all are pretty much the life of the party. Like when you people are not on here, I'm just like, what am I doing here? So thank you for hopping on, and do not feel obligated to hop on. You know, I don't want to pressure you to like, oh, I got to be on for Richard. No, hop on because you just feel like hopping on. Okay. But I most definitely enjoy your interactions and stuff like that. So thank you very much. With that being said, I'm going to get some rest because I get to rest. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. Good stuff. Everyone enjoy your evening. I should be on back tomorrow. I have a lot of work to do this weekend. Tentatively, I'm going to say I'll be on. And if I'm not on, I will try to post a message saying like, you know, whatever, today's live is canceled. I know tomorrow I have a busy day. Like tomorrow I have nonstop work. I'm doing a 4 to 6 hour branding session with my friend who is a designer. So that's going to be really draining and I don't know how much energy I'll have after that. But yeah, I'm going to go from there. Okay. Good night, everyone. Take care. Bye.